Hi, let's talk about love today. Again, we've talked about love before. So, I wanna when we all want love, we all seek love, or most of us. I don't know if everyone. I haven't talked to every human on the planet. Most people I know want love, seek love, want to be loved, want to experience love, want to give love, want to receive love. Yet, we live in a country where we have 50% divorce rate. Most couples, after 6 months or a year, two at best, end up in a very miserable place. They don't like each other. They're constantly bickering each other or constantly fighting. They find themselves stuck in these patterns of resentment, anger, and when we find ourselves in that place, well, before I talk about that, let's take the concept that the world around you, your outer world, is a reflection of your inner world, right? If you want to change your outer world, change your inner world. So if you take the idea that everything in your outer world, it's a mirror. When you get in an intimate relationship, what starts to happen? In an intimate relationship, is you bring that mirror in your house. Like you put mirrors in every wall in your house. You start living in the hall of mirrors. And that's why every intimate relationship starts to feel so intense, because just even like if it's a physical mirror, imagine living in a hall of mirrors. That's pretty intense. It's uncomfortable. So that's what starts to happen. But what starts to happen is that if you don't like what the mirrors have, what's reflecting, what do? We start blaming the mirror. And what do we put our attention on the mirror? Like we want to polish the mirror, we we yell at the mirror, we're angry at the mirror, we're resenting the mirror, we're sad at the mirror. And when we do that, just the mirror just keeps reflecting how we are. And you know what starts to happen? We want to change our partner. In other words, you want to polish the mirror, you want a better mirror. And God forbid you succeed at that. You get a better mirror. A more polished mirror is gonna show more of you. So get a more dirty mirror so you have less of a reflection. So if we want the mirror to present something else to us, we have to show up differently, right? Because the mirror is only reflecting that which it's seeing. Um, so let's look at it. So then, if that's the case, then so that means we just need to be love. Very simple concept. Just be love, and the mirror is gonna show you love. Okay, but how do we find that? How do we be that? Um, I know if I sit down and I talk to you, if we get heart to heart and we spend a few minutes together and we get past the noise and we get past the confusion and the stories and all that, and I ask you, do you love your spouse? I believe most of you will say yes. And the same thing happened to me. Like the moment I just closed my eyes and checked in with myself, never once for a second doubted how much I loved my wife. Yet I was just like an addict. Um, Actually, we can talk about that in a second. But I was literally like an addict, like where I couldn't put down the cigarette or the alcohol or the um, whatever, the drug, or just I just couldn't put it down. And what was my choice of drug? My choice of drug was complaining, whining, resenting, sadness, anger, despair, uh, and pointed all that at her. But then I close my eyes and I'm like, oh, I love you. And I try to convince her, like, I love you. I've never loved anyone the way I love you. I've never ever wanted to marry anyone in my life. You're the first person I was like, oh, I want to marry this woman, and I just just love you more than I've ever loved anyone. Well, but that's not how you're showing up. Why then why am I so addicted to complaining constantly to my friends about how my wife's not loving me? Right? So if it so it's you see how it's so counterintuitive. Like, I know I love her, yet I don't even know how to be in that love. I don't know how to show that love. I don't know how to present myself in that love. And no, it's well, all I'm pointing out is that it's her fault that I cannot love her. Right? You see how that's messed up? And most of us are in that same situation. Well, only if she was this way, only if he was this way, then everything will be perfect. Only if they change, only if they stop complaining, only if they stop nagging, only if they this, only if that, then I can love them. Uh, so that's a losing battle. You're gonna lose that 100% of the time. Why are you gonna lose that 100% of the time? Because that's not what's happening. The reality is that's not what's happening. And every time you argue with reality, you're gonna lose 100% of the time. By Byron Katie, it says, every time I argue with reality or with what is, I lose, but only 100% of the time. So you arguing with what is, you're gonna lose only 100% of the time. So no worry about that. So let's talk about how do we actually connect to love. So the way we connect to love is actually, I'm gonna give you this idea, this concept, this which I'm convinced that it's reality. All of our restful state of being, all of our place, this place where we call home, where we come home to ourselves, where we come home to who we are. In that place, we're all love. We're all love. We're all joy. We're all peace. And to further talk about this concept, I'm going to read to you a poem from Rumi. And it goes like this: your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it, and embrace it. So let's break this down. Your task is not to seek for love. So that's what I'm telling you. Love is there. Love's just there. Again, if we take that, when we put all the confusion, all the noise, all the stories, all these resentments and angers and despairs and all these stories we have, we always come back to love. I've never not seen that to be the case. Maybe there's exceptions. Maybe there's some pathological people with mental imbalances, or maybe there is truly evil people in the world. I haven't met one. If you met one, I'd love to talk to them. I'd love to talk to this evil person, because I've met a lot of people. I've worked with a lot of people, and with every person I've ever worked with, I've never ever not once gone to love. When we underneath it all, it's all love. It's so magical. So again, your task is not to seek for love. Well, so if that's not your task, what is your task? The poem says, merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against the love. So we've built these fortresses, we've built these walls, we've built all these things to protect ourselves, but they're only protecting ourselves from love. Because you, the essence of you, needs no protection, because it was never born, never dies. Is you are consciousness, you are love, you're the eternal you. Again, these are heady concepts, but let's just play along with those. I'm not gonna dive deeper into that. I kind of wanted to just go down that rabbit hole, talk about the eternal you. But uh, so let's talk about feelings for a second. Let's talk about resentment. Let's talk about sadness. Let's talk about anger. So feelings a lot of times feels like we are those feelings. We even speak in our language. We identify with them, right? You say, I am sad. And you think you are sad, right? But you're not sad. You're love. That's who you are. Just like you're not this body, you're not this mind, you know your stories. So when you say I am sad, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to whoever you're talking to, because you're not sad. You're experiencing sadness. You having the feeling of sadness, but you're not sad, right? So, but what happens? I'm gonna use this canister as I have it sitting around here. Think of something better to use. But anyway, so I have my, what do we have here? Vitamin B12. So we're using this B12 as a filling. So if this filling is a feeling that we've identified with it, we've grasped onto it so tightly with all my muscles, like to the point where my fist has gotten beyond sore, has gotten numb, has become like my hands are frozen, my fingers are frozen, my hands frozen, like it's so numb, kind of like if you're sitting on your legs and they fall asleep, you can move them, right? So this to the point where I've grasped onto this feeling so much, and it feels like it has me, and I'm fully not aware that I have it. Feels like it's grasped me when the reality I've grasped onto it. And then the last line of this poem says, and embrace them. So seek and find all the barriers within yourself that have built against it and embrace them. So if this is not an embracing situation, right? Like I'm starting to get tired just for 30 seconds holding it. Embracing is you embrace a child, right? You embrace your beloved. You don't grasp onto them like this. Look, I can open my hand. I can embrace my B12. It's like, oh, hi. You and I have known each other for some time. Hi. We spent a lot of time together. I'm starting to start to feel like you are me. But you're not me, you're just the B12. You're just sadness. Right? You're this thing, and like, oh, it's so beautiful? I can hold on to it lightly. Sadness it's a texture. It has a certain texture. It has such a. Sometimes we watch movies, sad movies, and we enjoy watching sad movies because we like to feel sad once in a while. Like it's a feeling. It's beautiful. It's a human part of human spectrum, and don't worry if you let go of it. You can always find it, but it's not you. And so when I just say let go of it, look at this. I'm gonna open my fingers. Oh, no more sadness. What do we do now? What do we have left is love. Love, joy, and peace is where home is. And so mind you, it works a little more complicated. Like once you let go of one feeling, there might be another one. There might be a deeper layer of sadness. Then sadness might be grief. There might be anger. There might be something. But you could just as easily keep letting go until you come back to love. And then each day there are going to be new feelings, and you could keep letting them go. But again, when so start first step to letting go of your feelings, start getting to know them, start writing about them. So one thing about feelings that is so interesting is that we start to not only identify with them, right? We identify with them very strongly, but we start wearing them as a badge of honor. And we start finding communities around our suffering like, oh, my wife left me, oh, poor me, oh, and then I get all the energy, all the attention, all the love, all the like, oh, poor Christian, like, oh, I love you. Then I start finding other people, oh, your wife left you too, oh my God, here, I love you, oh, now let's commiserate in her misery. It's like, oh, poor you, like, oh my God, and then it's like, oh, and then we find out that, start looking around, everyone around us suffer. Like, oh, maybe suffering is the baseline of life. Maybe suffering is life. Life is suffering. Oh my God, everyone I know suffers. Oh my God, let's just have a kumbaya and uh, uh, love fest of suffering, and we're gonna love each other on our suffering, and we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna build our intimacy and connections around our suffering. Well, if you put so much energy and you're getting so much value out of it, how are you ever gonna let it go? You're never gonna let it go. But so the first is to be honest, be self-honest with yourself. It's like, oh, first of all, admit to yourself that your feelings don't have you. You have them. You can let them go. Your thoughts, same. They don't have you. I mean, they happen, just like feelings and thoughts are just like breathing and just like your heart beating. It happens. Like, can you stop your mind from thinking? At times you can have conscious thoughts, but thoughts are happening. Thoughts are happening to you, just like your breath's happening to you. The thing is, like, I don't grasp in, like, imagine like I took a breath. I'm gonna grasp on. I'm gonna hold on. This is the bread. This is the one. I'm gonna stay in it, and I'm gonna, like, I, and it's just not gonna happen. I'm gonna have to exhale. I have to let it go. So, but with thoughts, we grasp onto some feelings. We grasp onto them, and that's a sure way of suffering and sure way of not finding the love that you're seeking, because you're attached. Maybe even got in a relationship, someone that their suffering matched your suffering. You guys got together based on your suffering. That's not going to be a very good relationship, and a lot of people do that. So start to recognize that. Start willing to be to recognize and to know. Ask yourself. Even if you start asking yourself, it sounds super simple. This guy, he's making it sound like I could just let go of my feelings. Yes, you can just let go of your feelings. So the first step is embrace that feeling. When it comes to feelings, they say the only way out is through. That's why the poem says embrace them. So you embrace this, and like, you get to know it. And like, hey, so are you willing to let go of this? And you have to ask yourself, and you have to be willing. You're like, oh no, well, if I let go, then my buddies and my circle and my community, like, like, we're bonding around my suffering. Are they still gonna love me if I don't suffer? Would they still invite me over for dinner if I wasn't suffering? They usually invite me because they feel bad for me. Right? Are you willing to have these conversations with yourself? And if you're not, then that's fine. Be honest with yourself. There's nothing wrong. If you want to hold on to it, hold on to it. Just be honest with yourself. But I'm just going to invite you, if you want to hold on to this feeling, ask yourself another question. For how long? You want to hold on to for another minute? For another year? The rest of your life? Ask yourself, when would you be willing to let go of it? For how long are you going to hold on to this? And same with your thoughts. You can have exact same conversation with your thoughts. You can explore the work, literally the work, I was going to say the work of Byron Katie, and her work's called The Work. That helps you really, teaches you very simple process on how to let go of your thoughts. There's many processes that teaches you how to let go of your feelings. And if you learn to let it go and you're always coming back to love, you start to get to know, you start to get to know this place, and you start to come back to yourself more and more often throughout the day. And you're like, oh, I like it here. Oh, all of a sudden I feel jealousy, resentment. Oh, fuck, my buddy making more money than me. And like, oh, he's going to Hawaii and I can't go. Like, oh, wait, I'm jealous. I'm resentful. I'm like, oh, I don't need to feel that. He's my friend. I love my friend. I want him to go to Hawaii and to enjoy life and to share in the magic and the beauty of this planet. Like, yeah, please go. I get to live it by curious, but you're gonna come back and tell me all about it and show me pictures and like, that's amazing, man. Go, like, you're like, be like, love your friends and your community genuinely, and then you step into that, and then you go home in the hall of mirrors. And it's just tears down your face, because all you see is love. You look at the person in the mirror and like, wow, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. I love you. Because that's all you see now. Because that's who you are. That's your home. Your home. So let's walk each other home. You are beautiful. You are love. Thank you for listening. Give it a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you next time.